Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, the Russians are doing something that actually Plato stated in his little book, The Republic, and that is introducing basic military education in schools next year. So this article comes from Sputnik. Title: Russia to introduce basic military education in schools next year, Education Minister says. I know this is going to be looked at, oh my God, in the West, but I will explain why this is a good thing. Russian schools will have military training 101 on schedule starting next academic year, Education Minister Sergei Kravtsov said on Wednesday. Russian media reported on Tuesday that the Education Ministry was drawing up a school module on basic military training. And I'm quoting, "It will be in schools starting next academic year. Now it is being prepared. We will prepare it before January 1st. Then it will be tested and schools will be able to use it starting next year," Kravtsov told reporters. Students will study military exercises, personal protective equipment and first aid, weapons and rules for handling them, the basics of shooting, the use of device of hand grenades. In addition, high school students will learn how to operate in modern combined arms combat, study the composition and armament of a motorized rifle squad, on an infantry fighting vehicle, engineering equipment of a soldier, as well as trench digging techniques, basically use force. It was a proposal of several Russian lawmakers during the fall session that basic military training be returned to the school education system. The Russian Defense Ministry supported the initiative and found it appropriate to allow at least 140 hours to the new module during the last 2 years of schooling. All right. I think, and I'm not the only one who thinks that, but I'm not going to hide behind other people's ideas like Plato, but I think I used him just he reminded me, this article reminded me of Plato, of the Republic, where he tries to create a certain kind of perfect society. So he talks about the training and the education of the youth. He also talks about, Plato talks about censoring what kind of books, what kind of stories should be told to the population as well as the military. And he mentions the reason. I'm not going to go in that. This is not a discussion on Plato's Republic, which is right there. Anyway, among others. So why is it good? Well, as an individual, I still think that courage is one of the pillars that the character is built. Because without courage, everything else is going to be average. And if you go by the ancient virtues, right, moderation, wisdom, temperance, and courage, right, if you go by that, then you can't do anything right without courage to do it. You always need courage to start something. If you're afraid to start something, you will not start it. So you have to win the fight between being afraid and having the courage to overcome that situation. In knowledge, that you need the courage to a certain extent. Obviously, courage is the basic, I think. Well, you can say, well, intelligence is the basic. Well, yeah, that's wisdom is also. That's why there are 4 of them, and there are many others. So in this case, talking about virtues and how a character is built, a character should be, as the Romans used to say, mens sana in corpore sana. That is healthy mind in healthy body. That means in order to have a healthy brain, you have to have a healthy body. That means you have to be sports-like. You have to be Obviously, you can't have a healthy mind in an unhealthy body. Nowadays, you can, but then somehow you couldn't. And besides, because a good health gives you good thoughts and good. I'm not going to go into that physiology and all that. But anyway, put it aside. Again, I thought I used the Romans because I think I agree with that as well. When you are faced with a situation in life, you need courage, and you have to know your limits. How do you know your limits? Because you gotta guess at least how far you can go in any encounter you have. In a debate, you have to kind of know how much you know. In a physical circumstance, like building a house or picking up a heavy luggage, you have to know your limits. You don't break your back, or you don't say, yeah, I can do it, and you can't. And then you make a fool out of yourself. So the same is in life. You have to have the basic courage. And how do you build courage? You build courage by courage. How should I put it? You test yourself. By testing yourself, your courage will start further and further and further. Because imagine a child. They leave him outside in the dark, he's going to be afraid. But you get the child more times outside, is going to get used to the situation. He's going to be afraid in other circumstances. You have to expose yourself to certain situations, face them, overcome them, and then you know your limits. At one point you reach a ceiling, and you say, okay, that's my limit. But you don't know your ceiling unless you tested yourself. In this case, you need physical testing. You must, I would say, in order to be a courageous person, you have to test yourself, not only in having the courage to say something back, but also the courage to act physically. You build confidence. You build confidence in confrontations, in verbal confrontations, in physical confrontations, and believe me, they will be in your life. You're not going to have safe bullshit spaces, okay? That's bullshit. You will have those. And you build self-confidence by exposing yourself to physical adversity, which is you have to practice. You have to practice in school boxing, you have to practice in school a kind of wrestling. You can call it judo, you can call it jiu-jitsu, you can call it simply wrestling or whatever, something that is grappling and something that is hitting, a combination of kickboxing or just boxing. But you have to be one-on-one, compete physically, because by competing physically you develop a strength of mind and courage. You train yourself in that. So I think this will help also help the children understand the situation of war, and it's good because you never know when your country will need you, and not only your country, your neighborhood, your family. So I think it's a good thing to be able to master these things. Again, you should be able to know how to master a weapon, regardless. Could be knife, could be hatchet, could be axe, could be rifle, could be pistol, revolver, whatever you have to have the basic. And I would say you should also be able to have access to them in your day-to-day life. That means you don't have your weapons into the military station somewhere or the police station. No, you have it in your house. Well, that's a different story. I think people should practice, the children should be, you say, well, we have a physical education. Well, yeah, running a little bit, that click, 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 yes, number one, okay, number two, regiment, yeah, that's good for discipline and, coordination in a group, that's great. But not only that, you have to be punched in the face, you have to punch in the face, you have to feel pain, you have to see how it is, you see how much you endure, and by pushing your extremes, you know how much you get used with this, and then not you stay in line somewhere. Oh, my leg hurts. My leg hurts. I'm gonna go home and take a nap. Really? And someone else is gonna go and stay in line and get whatever you have to fight pain. Pain is something that you have to get used to because life is pain. I'm not gonna go now into suffering and Buddhist. 4 rules and whatever of the Buddhist. Life is suffering, the first rule, and so on. But it is. You don't have to avoid it. You have to be able to withstand it. avoiding, you're a weasel. I mean, if you can do that, you're a shirker. But every time, in every endeavor you're going to have in your life, you're going to encounter pain. Either you're going to be tired, you're going to be thirsty, you need to go to the bathroom, your legs hurt, your back hurts, your heart hurts for various reasons, your brain hurts, and brain, the mind is, under pressure and so on. Well, you have to, at every corner you're going to have pain, and you can't run away from it. I mean, you can, but I don't think that's a normal state of mind. I mean, I don't think life in general puts so much pressure on you that you need to eat something. You know what I mean? So yes, that's necessary. I think the Russians are doing a good thing. Other countries did it too. Other countries are doing it, and I think it's beneficial to the children as they grow and they become young adults, for themselves in the first place, second place the society they live in, the country, and so on. Humanity as well. You never know when bullshit comes out of the sky and you have to defend your country, your property, your loved ones, yourself. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.